Don't matter.
Action.
Hi. So I'm putting together a little COVID baking challenge for y'all. This can be either a physics assignment, it's got thermodynamics, it's got some heat and stuff, or it can be a biology assignment. It's got some living beasts going on here, doing a little bit of a respiration. So I'm trying to make a couple loaves of bread and do it in the easiest fashion and with basic ingredients. So Callie's gonna help me out here.
Yay.
But so let me show you what we got here. So if you're up for this, I try to use the basic ingredients and do it as easy as possible. So here I've got divided, these are my dry ingredients right here. Don't worry about this here. And these are my wet ingredients right here. So first thing you do, you should take 7 cups of flour. And I just use regular all-purpose flour, 7 cups. Then you take 5 teaspoons of yeast. And that's a teaspoon for you. You can use whatever yeast you have. Anyways, it doesn't really matter. Just take longer or shorter time to do it. And, anyways, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the 5 teaspoons of yeast and I'm just going to dump it in there. There's my yeast. And then you take 3 3/4 teaspoons of salt. I don't know, it's pretty exact here, right? So once again, 3 3/4 teaspoons of salt, and you dump that in as well. So I got my teaspoons of salt. What I'm gonna do here is I'm just gonna mix it and I'm just gonna blend it in. So whatever you wanna blend it in with. You got a whisk, you wanna do whatever. You're gonna blend it together. All right, so I'm just blending, just getting the yeast mixed with the salt. And doesn't matter too much. I'm just blending it all together. Now, if you have a KitchenAid, I have a KitchenAid, but I'd rather do this by hand to show you how easy it is. So if you have a KitchenAid, you just put this stuff in the KitchenAid, you know, the mixer, and it'll mix with the dough hook. It'll just mix this stuff up for you. Okay. Anyway, so that's blended. Okay, now you have your wet ingredients. So I've got milk and water. Now, you could use all water instead. My mom used to use only water. This, whatever recipe I found, use a little bit different. It's 2 cups of warm milk, 2 cups of warm water. It can be room temperature. It's a little bit better if it's warmer because we're gonna add butter to it, melted butter. And if it's not warm, it'll just make the butter kind of coagulate. So 2 cups of warm milk, 3/4 cups of warm water. You could use all water if you want to. I'm just trying to make it easier for you. You can use all water if you want to. So I'm gonna mix those together, and that's salt. Sorry, that's not the salt. Then we're gonna add a 1/3 cup of sugar. So I got about 2 3/4 cups of liquid and about 1/3 cup of sugar here. And so 1/3 cup of sugar, just your basic old white sugar, and I'm gonna mix that up to dissolve it. So I'm just gonna mix that up to dissolve it, and do that for a little bit. Okay. So I'm mixing that up, dissolve that, and while that's doing that, here's butter. It calls for unsalted butter. It doesn't really matter too much. I added salt already, but that's 5 tablespoons right there. 5 tablespoons of butter, 5 tablespoons. I already did that, and I melted it in the refrigerator. Didn't melt in the refrigerator. Actually melted in the microwave. So anyways, I'm dissolving the sugar here. It's probably good enough. Sugar in this mixture dissolves pretty quickly. You actually probably could look at the bottom and see if it's, yeah, it looks like it's good. And so I got some sugar in here, and now I'm just gonna dump my butter in there. It's kind of slippery, so I'm gonna dump the butter in there. Okay, 5 tablespoons of butter. Okay, so now I got my dry and wet ingredients. I'm gonna stir those together. My wet ingredients, I'm gonna mix and dissolve those together. Then I'm gonna combine both the dry and wet, combine it together, and then I'm gonna come over here and knead it. So right here, you gonna be my assistant here?
Sure.
Okay, so this is my daughter Belle. So grab this by the handle, and then grab this, and you can kind of just stir that together a little bit. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna combine. You're gonna pour it in, and I'm gonna mix this. So pour it in slowly. I'm just gonna mix while you pour it in. Just stir, it's fine, yeah. Stir and pour. So slower. So I'm just gonna combine the ingredients here as she mixes this in. Just turning and stirring and turning and stirring. Keep going. Turning and stirring. This will take me a little while to incorporate. Turning and stirring and turning and stirring. Okay, keep this up. And like I said, you could do this in a mixture if you have a KitchenAid mixer, but I'm just trying to do it as easy as possible to show you that it can be done all by hand. I'll tell you what, in a mixture, this thing is easy. Okay, keeping going, keeping going, keeping going. Yeah, good, good, good. Just keep going there. Okay, thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, so I got a mixture here, and I'm just gonna have to do this by hand in a second here, but I'm just incorporating it here. So it's all kind of mixed together. Now in the KitchenAid, if you do have a KitchenAid at this point, with the dough hook, at this point it'll mix it up pretty good. You only need to put it on low medium, and you do it on low medium for about 8 to 10 minutes, and then you only need it by hand for just a couple minutes. Okay, so I'm gonna turn it on this board right here. I'm gonna knead it by hand. Okay, so now I'm just putting a little bit of flour. I used all-purpose flour, by the way, just to make it easy. But I'm gonna put a little flour on the board, and I'm gonna turn it out here. And then I'm gonna begin to knead it by hand. Now it's a lot easier in the KitchenAid. Okay. Now look over there. Got my hand sanitizer, got my Lysol, I got my 409, and every surface here is good to go. Okay, so we're incorporating this and trying to knead it, just kind of working it. You turn it and you just kind of press and roll. Turn and press and roll. Now, my mom would say to do this for about 20 minutes. I need more flour. So my mom would say to do this for about 20 minutes. So I don't know. It's going to take me 20 minutes to do this, but we're not going to videotape this whole thing. So I'm just basically turning, folding over, and then pressing. Turning, a quarter turn, fold over and press. Turn, fold over and press. Turn, fold over and press. So it's kind of fun. It's actually energetic. Yeah, you can add a little flour. Try not to add too much flour. The flour keeps it from sticking. But yeah, the mixture seems to be about perfect. You notice I added a little bit more flour. It'll get sticky as I kind of work it through. And yeah, you have to do this for a while. It's got to really incorporate. It's got to stretch out. And like I said, a little bit easier in the KitchenAid. So I'm going to do this for about 20 minutes, maybe, I don't know, 15 minutes. And then I'm going to restart the video in a little bit. Okay, so now I've kneaded for about, I don't know how long, 12, 15 minutes? Okay, 12, 15 minutes. And basically just rolling over, and you should notice elasticity and more smoothness. So you can do the double roll. Or the single roll. Single double. So if you notice, everything's coming to the middle, and if I turn it over, that part is pretty smooth, and my mom would say satiny. So pop it down, put your thumb in, and it should come back. It doesn't have to come back all the way, but that's elasticity. You're building up the gluten. These elastic strands of the dough, the proteins sticking to each other. So once that looks pretty good. So all of it's been toward the middle. right? So there's my thumbprint, it's almost gone. So now, you are going to put a little bit of oil in a bowl. That's just canola oil. And I'm just gonna rub it on the sides of the bowl. And you're gonna sit it to rise in a warm place. My mom used to put it on top of the refrigerator. Refrigerator actually puts off heat in the back of the refrigerator. That's thermodynamics, physics students. But I'm just going to put it, actually, the microwave in our house is used enough. So the microwave is usually warm inside. I'm not gonna turn the microwave on. I'm just gonna put that inside. And take a note of how big that is. You know, sometimes you can turn it over a little bit. Take a note of how big that is. And we want it to rise until it's at least double in bulk. So it'll be pretty good size when we're done. So I'm gonna put it, and technically I should cover it with some plastic wrap, keep the moisture inside. Which is right here. Keep the moisture inside. Sometimes the little tricks, if I don't feel like it's moist enough in the microwave or warm in the microwave, sometimes I actually take a little thing of water, and I'll put some water in here, and I'll put it in the microwave, and I'll heat it up for 2 minutes, and I'll keep the warm water in the microwave, just sitting next to it. And so here we go. So here's the bowl. Let rise until about doubled. It's about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours, depending. This is a warm place. Don't turn the microwave on. We're not cooking it. It's just warm. So I feel inside here, nice and warm inside there. My oven's right underneath, so it actually helps because things are cooked and whatever. So I'm gonna put it in there, wait about an hour and a half, come back and check it. Okay, we're back. It's nice and warm in here. This was turned on, so it raised a lot. It's been about 2 hours. It does not need to raise this much. It could raise a lot less than this. I actually was eating dinner, and I knew it was over raising a little bit. So it is what it is. It's not gonna be a big deal. Okay, one last note about kneading it. When you're kneading it, kneading's not easy, so don't get frustrated. It doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is I'm gonna get in these pans. I've added some oil, and I put it in there and just rubbed it around. The oil is in there. I rubbed it around my hands to make sure the pan was oiled. Now we're gonna lightly flour the countertop. And I'm gonna make 2 logs. And 1 log for each bread pan. I suppose if you don't have a bad bread pan, you can just make them into like Italian loaves, so it'd be fine as well. All right, I'm gonna flop this thing out and cut it in half. Actually, they want you to punch it down. Look at all the air coming out. So this is thermodynamics, and it's actually at the same time, it's thermodynamics and it's also biology. So it's physics and biology at the same time. We have this food energy, the sugar that was put in was turned into work by the yeast. The yeast ate the food and it made it rise up and put air in the inside here. The yeast is a living thing doing anaerobic respiration. So we had a little bit of physics and a little biology going on at the same time. Now we're gonna do a little bit more. I'm gonna cut this in half and get it in 2 loaves. And so now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna kind of get this into a rectangle. And what we want to do is we want to shape this so that it will fit. So that it will fit in that pan right there, right? And so one way to do it is just to roll. There's a couple ways to do this. Is just to roll. And then when you roll it, you're gonna pinch off the end here. Pinch it, pinch it, pinch it. Pinch it, pinch it, pinch it, pinch it. Right? And then it'll kind of be smooth like that. Then that'd be perfect. The more uniform you have it, the better it will rise uniformly. So we're gonna have a second rise. That was the first rise. So now I have this, and I'm gonna lift it up. I'm gonna plop it in there. And just kind of form it a little bit in here. Just spread it out kind of evenly if we can. So it'll gonna go in and do a second rise. So that's the first one. Same thing here. Gonna make it into kind of a rectangle so that we want it uniform. We want to get this uniform because if we don't, it'll be lopsided, and we don't really want a lopsided loaf, do we? So I'm kind of making this a uniform rectangle if I can. Otherwise it'll be, like I said, lopsided and won't raise correctly. Okay, doesn't have to be perfect, but here we go. I'm gonna roll. Roll. And then I'm going to pinching off so it seals the seam. Some people like to pinch on the end too. And so I got my log, my loaf right there. And then that's a pretty good shape one, and then I gotta get into here. One thing about working with dough is it tends to work a little bit better if you don't linger too much. You work like a snake, you kind of go fast. That's not super uniform. A snake, it's like fast. You gotta get in there fast instead of lingering there. So, got my 2 loaves here. Right, that one's really nice and uniform. This one's a little bit less. I didn't cut it correctly in half, but anyway, we're gonna let this rise again until it comes up about this high, and we'll cook it. So this is the second rise. I'm going right back in the warm place. I'm gonna cover it with the foil that I had actually. They want you to kind of put a little bit of oil on it. Not foil, but the plastic wrap. So I put some oil on top. So when the bread rises to this level, it's going to rise up out of the pan. It's not going to stick to the top there. So just kind of like give it a little bit of space. And so now this is kind of loose over the top, but it's covered, but it's holding in the moisture, right? And so now I'm just going to put it right back where it was, nice and warm in there, and wait about another hour. So here we go. I'm not turning this on. I'm doing a second rise here. It's gonna get a nice smooth bread, and I can check it every once in a while, and there we go. Okay, the hard part is done. Now we got the easy part. So it's done its second rise, and oh my gosh, it's gone crazy. So it's done its second rise here, and you don't want to put it in the oven with the plastic on, so let me bring it over here, take the plastic off, and carefully. Okay, so it's done its second rise, and it's ready to go in the oven. The oven is preheated to 350. That warmth actually warmed up the microwave a little bit, made it nice for doing the second rise. And so I'm just gonna put them in here, and for about 35 minutes. So this is the easy peasy part. Don't want to slam it around because they say that you can pop the air bubbles inside. It's kind of like a cake. You don't want to slam everything. But there we go. So we'll go for about 35 to 40 minutes until it's golden brown, and we should be done. Easy peasy. Okay, so we've been baking this at 350 for 35 to 40 minutes. You can go ahead and check if you want to. You don't want to check it too often. You want to let the heat out. But I got a thermometer. You don't have to have a thermometer, but I want it to be 205 on the inside, and it's got about more closer to 40 minutes. And it's yeah, you can see right there, it's 205 on the inside. So we are good. We are ready to come out. You see the color is golden brown, so that's exactly what we want. Don't use your hands. That would be a bad idea to use your hands to take these out. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take them out, and I put that one backwards, and we're going to put these out, and then we're gonna let them stay in here for 15 minutes. We'll let them stay in here for 15 minutes. Then we're gonna pop them out and let them cool in the wire rack. It's supposed to go on the wire rack for about 3 hours, but who has the patience to do that? We're gonna cut it up, put it in a toaster,
We're gonna slather some butter and honey on it, and they're gonna be delicious. Okay, now it's your turn to get out there and try to make some loaves of your own. I hope you have some fun.
And here we are. So now for the last segment of what we got going on here, I'm gonna go over this one more time so you can see how we came up with this. So yeah, cute, right? Okay, so we had wet ingredients and we had dry ingredients. So our dry ingredients were 7 cups of flour, 5 teaspoons or 2 packages of yeast, 3 3/4 teaspoon of salt, and you're gonna stir those together. Then you got your wet ingredients. You've got 2 cups of warm milk, 3/4 cups of warm water. You could probably use all water instead if you don't have any milk. You could use some powdered milk if you got powdered milk. You're gonna dissolve in 1/3 cup of sugar, and then you're gonna stir in 5 tablespoons of melted butter. Mix and dissolve all those. Then you're gonna combine both your dry and your wet ingredients, and you're gonna knead that for 20 minutes. So that was the hard part, actually. Kneading for 20 minutes is absolutely positively the hard part. So once you knead that for 20 minutes, have some patience, just work it in, add a little flour to the outside to keep it going, and get some elbow grease in there, as they say. After you knead for 20 minutes, you're gonna stick it somewhere warm, and you're gonna let it rise until doubled, about 1.5 hours. I let mine rise in the microwave because it's warm in there, but it didn't turn the microwave on. You want to make sure it's covered and moist, so you could add some nice hot water in a cup in the microwave to kind of keep it moist and warm. Okay, then once it's risen till it's doubled, 1.5 to 2 hours, then you take it out, punch it down, and you're going to roll it into logs. Those logs are going to be fit for those pans, and you're trying to get it uniform with a smooth top. Anything else is tucked underneath. Once you do that, you'll do your second rise. The second rise is going to have it roll to the rise to the top of the pans, and you can see there that these are above the top of the pans, right? Any of these little wrinkles are from how the dough was kind of rolled to begin with. I didn't really tuck it in. You can kind of see the roll where it was rolled there, and the roll where it was rolled there. But it didn't matter. It rose over the tops and the sides of the pans. And this is a pretty beautiful loaves of bread you got right there. Pretty easy, pretty fun, little combination of science, biology, physics, all the above. But I hope you enjoyed, and I actually hope that you give it a whirl on your own too. So have some fun, and show me what you got as a product. Have some fun.